Hello students, welcome to the second session for 10th standard science. Well, in the last class we have discussed very well about life processes, nutrition, and our main focus of attention was the autotrophic mode of nutrition. And we dealt with the introduction of the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now today our focus of attention will be on the heterotrophic nutrition, and there focusing on the nutrition in amoeba. So let us discuss about the nutrition in amoeba. Now amoeba is a unicellular organism and it shows holozoic mode of nutrition. Now it obtains its food. Amoeba obtains its food by means of some sort of finger-like structures, and these finger-like structures are known as pseudopodia. Now if we divide the word pseudopodia, then pseudo means false and podia means feet, so it has false feet. And this process in case of amoeba of obtaining food with the help of these finger-like structures, that is the pseudopodia, is known as phagocytosis. Now let me divide the word phagocytosis. Phago means to eat, cyto means the cell, and cis means the process. So the process which is done by the cell, that is amoeba, in order to obtain its nutrition, that is said to be the phagocytosis. Now here a lot of steps are there. The first step, that is ingestion. Ingestion is the process by which amoeba, it produces the finger-like structures, that is pseudopodia, and it engulfs the food particle and forms a food vacuole. So inside a food vacuole, now we have two major things, that is the food and lysosomes. Now lysosomes are the organelles present inside a typical cell. Furthermore, the second step, that is the digestion. In case of digestion, the lysosomes, they break down and gives rise to lytic enzymes. These are the digestive enzymes which digest the food particle present inside the food vacuole. The third step, that is the absorption. So these particles, it will be used for various purposes and ultimately it will be assimilated. So assimilation and absorption, they occur simultaneously, where the food particles are spreaded out and then they are used for various purposes, for the purpose of the energy and for the purpose of respiration also. And last but not the least, the egestion. Egestion means the removal of the waste materials. So the membrane of amoeba ultimately bursts and the waste materials are released outside the body. Now let us start with one of the most important and the life-changing topic, that is nutrition in case of human beings. Now whenever we focus on the human beings, here our main focus of attention should be on the digestive system. So the entire human digestive system is mainly categorized into two major regions, that is the alimentary canal and the digestive glands. Now alimentary canal, it is a duct, a tube like structure which passes from the mouth to the anus, that is the place from where the food is taken inside to the place from where the waste materials are released outside the body. Now let us discuss the first part, that is the alimentary canal. Now the alimentary canal basically starts with mouth. Now let us observe the structure of a typical mouth. Now a typical mouth, that is the mouth of an adult human being, it consists of the teeth, the tongue and the salivary glands. Focusing on the human teeth, we humans have mainly 4 types of the teeth, right from the front region, that is the incisors, the canines, the premolars and the molars. The front region, which are absolutely flat, they are said to be the incisors, mainly used for the cutting purpose. So whenever we chew the biscuit, whenever we cut the biscuit, we cut it from the incisors. Then we have the sharp pointed teeth. They are said to be the canines, mainly used for the tearing purpose. Then we have the broader teeth, that is the premolars and the molars, which are exclusively used for the purpose of grinding and the churning purpose. Moving on to the tongue. Now human tongue has a lot of small minute structures on the surface, and they are said to be the papillae. They are mainly responsible for the purpose of the taste, that is the sweet, salty, sour and the bitter. So these are the 4 major types of the taste of the tongue. The tongue also performs one of the most important function of the speech, and it also helps in the purpose of swallowing the food. Furthermore, there are 3 pairs of the salivary glands. Here in the diagram we can see very well the salivary glands. Now the salivary glands, they release some sort of juice, and that is said to be the saliva. Inside the saliva there is one very major enzyme, and that enzyme is known as the amylase. Now this amylase mainly converts starch into glucose. Starch, that is the carbohydrate content, into the glucose. Now whenever we take bread or chapati without applying any sort of butter or jam, then we find that bread or the chapati, it mainly tastes sweet in nature, because this amylase enzyme has converted starch into the glucose. So that is the first part of the alimentary canal, that is mouth, where partial digestion of the food takes place. Now the second part, that is the esophagus. So from the mouth, food basically enters the esophagus, a tube like structure which mainly connects mouth and the stomach. Moving on to the stomach. Now the food remains inside the stomach for nearly 3 hours. So we all might have seen people walking a lot after eating their meal, because during these 3 hours proper churning, proper mixing and proper digestion of the food ultimately takes place. Now how it takes place? Now inside the stomach there are a lot of gastric glands. Now in the medical terms for stomach we use the term gastric. So normally people say that they have gastric problems. So gastric means the stomach problems. So in the secretion of these gastric glands, there are 3 major juices which are being released. The first one, the enzyme pepsinogen, which is there in the inactive form, dilute hydrochloric acid and mucus. Let us see their functions one by one. The first one, that is the enzyme pepsinogen. This inactive enzyme pepsinogen, it is mainly converted into the enzyme pepsin, by means of dilute HCl. And this pepsin, which is a protein digesting enzyme that ultimately converts the big molecules of proteins into the smaller molecules. Now dilute HCl. Dilute HCl mainly creates the acidic medium inside the stomach. So whenever we eat a lot of protein rich food, a lot of HCl will be released, and that HCl, in case of the digestion of the food, will be producing the acidity in our stomach. And in order to remove this acidity, we use the base. That is, we may use the soda water also or ENO also. Further, this acidic medium is mainly created inside the stomach for the activities of a lot of other enzymes of the pancreas and the liver also. And the third major secretion, that is the mucus. Now mucus mainly covers the inner wall of the stomach in order to protect the stomach from the harmful effects of HCl. So some sort of complete digestion of the three major substances, that is the carbohydrates, the proteins and the fats, basically takes place inside the stomach. I have used the word somewhat, means a partially digested food has taken place inside the stomach. Now from the stomach, food goes into the small intestine. The first part of the small intestine, that is a U-shaped tube, that is said to be the duodenum. Now this duodenum receives the secretion from the liver, that is a digestive gland, and the pancreas, which is also a digestive gland. Now focusing on the liver. Now liver also releases some sort of juice, and that juice is said to be the bile juice. Bile juice mainly have bile salts, and these bile salts, it does a lot of functions, but the major function is the transformation of the acidic food which has come from the stomach into the alkaline medium. Alkaline means the basic medium, so that the pancreas and the other enzymes can act. That is, the pancreatic enzymes and the other intestinal enzymes can act on. Furthermore, bile also have a lot of enzymes which mainly converts the complex food substances into the simple food substances. And this bile is mainly stored in the gallbladder, and it will be released as and when required. Furthermore, moving on to the pancreas. Now pancreas releases the pancreatic juice. This juice also has a lot of enzymes which further converts the complex food substances into the simple food substances. Later on, the food passes into the other regions of the small intestine, where intestinal juice having the intestinal enzymes further converts the complex food substances into the simple ones. Therefore, now we can say that yes, a complete digestion of three major substances, that is the carbohydrates, proteins and the fats, have taken place inside the small intestine. Now this small intestine is also the main site for the complete absorption of the food substances. Now how? Now the inner wall of the small intestine has minute finger-like structures, and these minute finger-like structures are known as villi. These villi have microvilli, and it increases the surface area for maximum absorption of the food. And after the absorption of the food particles will be going into the bloodstream, and then through the bloodstream it will be reaching to the target cells of our body, as and when it is required. Further, the food substances now go into the large intestine. Now, in case of the large intestine, only one major substance is absorbed, and that is water. So maximum absorption of the water takes place, and the waste materials, they now reach the rectum, that is a semi-solid waste, and this semi-solid waste will be released outside the body of a human being from the anus due to some sort of the pressure that is being created. So that is the entire thing about the human digestive system, right from the mouth to the anus, with the involvement of various digestive glands. Thank you very much.